Hello, my dear children. Very good afternoon. This is L.K. Tripathi from LPM Public School, Gola Bazar, Gorakhpur. My dear students, in this new video, we shall study about the powers of the Prime Minister. As you know, we have been studying chapter 4, that is working of institutions. So, first of all, we have to observe the power of Prime Minister of India. We can say Prime Minister is the real head of the country. All the powers of the country are exercised by the Prime Minister of India. He is the head of the cabinet as well as the government. Without his consent, his or her consent, no decision can be taken by the cabinet or by the council of minister related to any interest or matter. So, first of all, let us see the powers of the prime minister. The constitution does not say very much about the powers of the prime minister or the ministers or their relationship with each other. Actually, there is no power by the constitution to the prime minister or related to anybody. Actually, the constitutional head is the president. The he is the he or she is the nominal head only. His or her all the powers are exercised by the Prime Minister of India. But as head of the government, the Prime Minister has wide-ranging powers. He chairs cabinet meetings. He coordinates the work of different departments. His decisions are final in case disagreements arise between departments. He exercises general supervision of different ministers. All ministers work under his leadership. The Prime Minister distributes and redistributes work to the ministers. He also has the power to dismiss ministers. When the Prime Minister quiets, the entire ministry quits. This is really true. The Prime Minister is known as the head of the cabineters. प्राइम मिनिस्टर वह पोस्ट होती है जो कैबिनेट के पूरे वो जैसे वृत्तखंड की धुरी होता है, किसी गाड़ी की जैसे धुरी है उस पर चलती है, उसी तरह से प्राइम मिनिस्टर की स्थिति है. विदाउट प्राइम मिनिस्टर कंसेंट नो मिनिस्टर कैन फॉरवर्ड द स्टेप्स फॉर एनी वर्क. प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो है डिस्ट्रीब्यूट और रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूट करता है किसी भी मिनिस्टर के कार्यों को. और तो रिजाइन द प्राइम मिनिस्टर मीन्स रिजिग्नेशन ऑफ होल द मिनिस्ट्री ऑटोमेटिकली. अगर प्रधानमंत्री अपनी सीट छोड़ता है तो ऑटोमेटिकली सारे मिनिस्टर को जो है डिजॉल्व हो जाना होता है, पूरी मिनिस्ट्री ख़त्म हो जाती है. इस तरह का पावर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया के पास सिक्योर्ड है. अगेन आई रिमाइंड यू, प्रेसिडेंट इज द नॉमिनल एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हेड ऑफ द कंट्री. Constitutionally, President has assumed all the power, but in real way, the powers are exercised by the Prime Minister of India. Thus, if the cabinet is the most powerful institution in India, within the cabinet, it is the Prime Minister. So, overall, we can say Prime Minister is the single body who controls all the ministry. किसी भी विभाग का काम है, कोई भी डिसीजन लेना है तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर की उसमें सैंक्शन, उसका कॉन्सेंट बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. बिना उसके कोई मिनिस्टर कोई स्टेप नहीं ले सकता. नेक्स्ट इज हु इज़ द मोस्ट पावरफुल. द पावर्स ऑफ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इन ऑल पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हैव इंक्रीज सो मच इन रिसेंट डिकेड्स दैट पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसीज आर समटाइम्स सीन एज प्राइम मिनिस्ट्रियल फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. Definitely this is very true. In the parliamentary form of the government, wherever it is in the world, in all over the world, in recent years the prime minister has become more powerful in all the democracy. But in the presidential form of the government like America, president is the real head all in all of the country. लेकिन इसमें जो है प्राइम मिनिस्टर हेड होता है पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट में. As political parties have come to play a major role in politics, the Prime Minister controls the cabinet and parliament through the party. The media also contributes to this trend by making politics and elections as a competition between top leaders of parties. In India too, we have seen such a tendency towards the concentration of powers in the hands of the Prime Minister. Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, exercised enormous authority because he had great influence over the public. Indira Gandhi was also a very powerful leader compared to her colleagues in the cabinet. Of course, the extent of power wielded by a prime minister also depends on the personality of the person holding position. However, in recent years, the rise of coalition politics has imposed certain constraints on the power of the prime minister. In recent year, definitely we can see that in the coalition government, if any party gets single majority to form the government, the prime minister becomes all in all of the party. All the decisions of the government is taken on his own behalf. But in the coalition government, the prime minister is not independent to take decision alone. There is consent necessary of all the parties to take this decision. So sometimes the prime minister is under pressure in coalition government. The prime minister So we can say the prime minister is all in all of the nation. Next, let us go about the parliament also. We have studied it properly. Next discussion will be taking place. Political executive. This is also very important for you to understand. Position of the prime minister we have watched here. In the coalition government, powers of the prime minister. This is read by all of us. And next discussion will be taking place. In this, we are going to the powers of the president. प्रेसिडेंट क्या है, उसके पावर्स क्या क्या हैं, इसको हम लोग इसमें देखते हैं. प्रेसिडेंट जैसा आपने देखा नॉमिनल हेड है कंट्री का, और उसके पास कोई रियल पावर नहीं होता है. उसके पास संवैधानिक शक्तियां तो ज़रूर हैं. अब देखते हैं प्रेसिडेंट को क्या क्या पावर्स हैं, राइट्स हैं. द प्रेसिडेंट, while the prime minister is the head of the government, the president The president is the head of the state. In our political system, the head of the state exercises only nominal powers. The president of India is like the Queen of Britain, whose functions are to a large extent ceremonial. The president supervises the overall functioning of all the political institutions in the country so that they operate in harmony to achieve the objectives of state. The president is not elected directly by the people. The elected members of parliament and the elected members of the legislative assemblies elect her. A candidate standing for president's post has to get a majority of votes to win the elections. This ensures that the president can be seen to represent the entire nation. At the same time, the president can never claim the kind of direct popular mandate that the prime minister can. This ensures that she remains only a nominal executive. The same is true of the powers of the president. If you casually read the constitution, you would think that there is nothing that she cannot do. All governmental activities take place in the name of the president. All laws and major policy decisions of the government are issued in her name. All major appointments are made in the name of the president. These include the appointments of the Chief Justice of India, the Justices of the Supreme Court and the High Courts of the state, the governors of the states, the election commissioners, ambassadors to other countries, etc. All international treaties and agreements are made in the name of the President. The President is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces of India. But we should remember that the President exercises all these powers only on the advice of the Council of Ministers. The President can ask the Council of Ministers to reconsider its advice. But if the same advice is given again, she is bound to act according to it. Similarly, a bill passed by the Parliament becomes a law only after the President gives assent to it. If the President wants, she can delay this for some time and send the bill back to Parliament for reconsideration. But if Parliament passes the bill again, she has to sign it. So you may wonder that what does the President really do? Can she do anything on her own at all? There is one very important thing she should do on her own. Appoint the Prime Minister. When a party or coalition of parties secures a clear majority in the elections, the President has to appoint the leader of the majority party or the coalition that enjoys majority supports in the Lok Sabha. When no party or coalition gets a majority in the Lok Sabha, the President exercises her discretion. The President appoints a leader who in her opinion can muster majority support in the Lok Sabha. In such a case, the President can ask the newly appointed Prime Minister to prove majority support in the Lok Sabha within a specified time. The judiciary. Next, that is. Let us return one final time to the story of Office Memorandum that we started with. This time, let us now recall the story, but imagine how different the story could have been. Remember, the story came to a satisfactory end because the Supreme Court gave a verdict that was accepted by everyone. Imagine what would have happened in the following situations. Number one, if there was nothing like a Supreme Court in the country. Even if there was a Supreme Court, if it had no power to judge action of the government, even if it had the power, if no one trusted the Supreme Court to give a fair verdict, even if it gave a fair judgment, if those who appealed against the government order did not accept the judgment. This is why independent and powerful judiciary is considered essential for democracies. All the courts at different levels in a country put together are called the judiciary. The Indian judiciary consists of a Supreme Court for the entire nation, high courts in the states, district courts, and the courts at local level. India has an integrated judiciary. It means the Supreme Court controls the judicial administration in the country. Its decisions are binding on all over courts of the country. It can take up any dispute between citizens of the country, between citizens and government, between two or more state governments, and between governments at the union and state level. It is the highest court of appeal in civil and criminal cases. It can hear appeals against the decisions of the high courts. Independence of the judiciary means that it is not under the control of the legislature or the executive. The judges do not act on the direction of the government or according to the wishes of the party in power. That is why all modern democracies have courts that are independent of the legislature and the executive. India has achieved this. The judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister and in consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In practice, it now means that the senior judges of the Supreme Court select the new judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts. There is very little scope for interference by the political executive. The senior most judge of the Supreme Court is usually appointed the Chief Justice. In this way, we have come to know about the power of the President, what kind of power the President assumes. So, including everything, we can say that all the major decisions related to the countries taken by the Prime Minister of India, President is the nominal head of the country. Next discussion will be taking place in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.